It was 1 year ago this week that the station fire forever charred the landscape of Southern California. More than 160,000 acres burned, but the greater loss, 2 dedicated LA County firefighters. Tonight, the exclusive story of courage and heroism from survivors who risked their own lives to save others, as we revisit what's left of Mount Gleason's Camp 16. Perched high above the Angeles National Forest, Mother Nature proudly displays her beauty, depth, dimension, life. But what if one day beauty becomes the beast?
The noises that it was making, it was calling you. You know, there's nowhere to go. You can't escape.
At that time, I just prayed.
We went from daylight to darkness in a matter of seconds.
5,600 feet high above LA, a narrow 6-mile winding road leads to the apex of heroism and loss. It's an exclusive visit 1 year later as we step onto Mount Gleason and into the untold story the station fire wrote. What is it like for you?
You know, that day was pretty difficult to get our arms around, get our heads around.
Chief Deputy John Tripp of LA County Fire was among the many who pieced together the mysterious events of that fateful day.
And right around this area here is where we found that the Camp 16 vehicle.
2 dedicated firefighters, Captain Ted Hall and firefighter specialist Arnie Quinones, killed protecting Camp 16 from an advancing blaze. What happened in here? How did it all come about?
Well, later on in the afternoon, the crews were monitoring where the fire was. They were communicating with the command that was here at Camp 16. Captain Hall had brought firefighter specialist Quinones. They came down to this point, and they were going to do an operation, basically what we call a firing operation.
The plan? To set a fire below the camp to stop the main fire from hitting Camp 16, then protect structures and put out spot fires. The scenario was what the 2 leaders had been training inmate firefighters, such as Williams and Bivens, for years. But nothing could have prepared them for the explosive fire they now faced.
Seen the trees light up on fire before the flames even hit them. Squirrels just light up on flames.
And we were trapped.
Once firefighters determined that this building and the others at the front of the fire were not salvageable and that they had to get out, they decided to make a last stand. And that last stand would take place at the Chow Hall.
I think it was about maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it looked like it was 2 o'clock in the morning.
And their 2 leaders still out there somewhere in the inferno.
Captain Hall, you know, he said, you know, clear the road, clear the road. I'm coming back to camp.
Battalion Chief Scott Hale of LA County Fire recalls the final radio call from Captain Hall.
I thought he was coming back to camp the same road he went down. I didn't know what happened. The sinking feeling set in.
So the fire rolls over that building. Everyone's hunkered down in here, but you've got problems here already.
That's originally the firefighters were still out trying to use fire hoses to protect the building. But then it became evident that there was smoke started to build up in here.
The kitchen was on fire.
Captain Sharon Henry of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation was the only female on the mountain that day.
A firefighter came in, he dropped down to his knees. He said there's no oxygen outside. Although I had everything on my face and whatnot, I just reached my hand down and I touched his shoulder and I just said, it's going to be all right.
And what happened next was nearly indescribable.
These flames were over 300 feet high, and the heat was just unimaginable.
I said, you know, we've got to move everybody out. We've got to move everybody out now. We're going to lose this whole camp.
So one of the foremen saw that he could get to his crew carrier, brought that crew carrier over, a truck, and basically used that to evacuate the inmates.
Split-second decisions staved those in the dining hall, but 2 remained missing.
It was just Arnie and Ted that